Alpha.
What's up, Sony Alpha Universe? My name is Mike Eloff, and I am a content creator as well as influencer and a Sony Alpha ambassador based in the beautiful Cape Town, South Africa. Today we are going to be talking all about how to edit your vlog. If you haven't already joined me on parts 1 and 2 of this vlogging series, in the first episode we covered the basics of vlogging, and in the second episode we focused on how to actually film your vlog out and about. Today we're going to go into the nitty-gritty on how to actually edit it. So without further ado, let's get going. Before we get into the editing though, let me tell you guys a little bit more about the actual gear that I've been using when I go out into the field to film a vlog. I currently use a A6400 with a 16 to 35mm lens on it. If the 16 to 35mm lens is not on the A6400, I actually have the stock lens, which is the 10 to 50mm as well. Then the other gear that I'm using when I'm out and about filming is the RX100 Mark VI, as well as my trusty old A7R4. Oh man, I do love that camera. That is the camera that I use for all the cinematic shots, and then the RX100 Mark VI, as well as the A6400, is what I've got in front of me when I'm talking to the camera and I'm actually vlogging. Then to make things a lot easier for myself when I'm out and about filming, I use the wireless hand grip on the A6400. This is so cool because when I'm out and about, I don't have to worry about any cables, and I just hit go and stop. That way, when I'm actually editing my vlogs, I don't have to go and sit and cut the front and cut the end. It's so easy because I've started it and stopped it at the exact points that I want, and all I have to do is just put that onto my timeline. But we'll talk about more on timelines in a little bit. So I use that as the hand grip for the A6400, and then on the RX100 Mark VI, I use the wired, smaller hand grip, but both of them are just as cool because you get to control each of the cameras using those hand grips. They also turn into nifty little tripods as well. So if you want to film a little time lapse, or if you want to set the actual camera up and talk to the camera somewhere, it's perfect for that sort of thing as well. Before we go any further though, let's talk a little bit about editing software, because there's so many different types of editing software out there that you can use. I mean, there's free software as well as paid software. Obviously, I'm using paid software. I use something called Final Cut Pro X. And for today's session, we're going to be focusing heavily on Final Cut Pro. But there are other softwares out there that you can use, like Adobe Premiere Pro. That's really cool. Unfortunately, my laptop just does not handle the processing power that requires. It's really, really cool though. So when I do upgrade my laptop, then I'll move on to Premiere Pro. But for now, Final Cut Pro is just perfect for me. Then if you want to film using free editing software, if you're on a Windows machine, most Windows machines actually come out with Windows Movie Maker, and then with Apple, they come out with iMovie. Now, both of those are perfect if you're a beginner blogger and you just want to get your very first blog out there. If you want to become a little bit more advanced though, that's when you start moving up and actually spending money on editing software, and that way you get a lot more features and you get to do some cooler things. All right, with all of that out the way, let's get cracking onto the editor we have behind me, and I'll get going. Right guys, welcome to my office. This is where we're going to be putting everything together. Before we get going though, the most important part before you start any vlog is to make sure that your clips are sorted into specific folders. What does that mean? Basically, if you filmed with multiple cameras, you're going to want to have a specific folder with all the footage in for that specific camera, so that you know where to go look for each and every clip when you've imported it into Final Cut. So if we make our way onto the computer screen right here, you'll see that I've already sorted my footage out into these folders over here: A7R4, A6400, action camera, music and sound effects, RX100, and tar video. And if you come into Final Cut Pro, you'll see that all of these folders match what is over here. Because when you drag the folders into Final Cut, it automatically creates these folders for you. Remember, it does add smart collections in here, so if you want to go all video, you can select that. It'll show you all of the video. If you want to select audio only, it'll show you only your audio, etc, etc. Right, with that out the way, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start dropping footage onto your timeline and laying down a timeline. You don't need to do any editing over here. All you need to do is drop it onto your timeline and make sure that it's in the right flow. So your start, middle, end. You don't want to have your ending at the beginning because that makes no sense. It's just going to give you extra work when you go into the actual edit itself. So lay down a timeline with the basic flow of the actual vlog itself, and then from there we're going to start doing more cutting. Don't even add music. For now, just lay down your timeline. And the way that I'm going to do that over here is by simply just going in, watching some clips. You'll see that I've already done it over here. I've watched some clips and I've done an in by selecting I, and then an O, selecting out, and then all I would have to do is either select E on my keyboard, which will automatically drop it onto the timeline, or I can just simply go and drag it in there. If there is a clip that you have missed and you want to add it in there, it's really easy. You grab and you drag it, and you can just simply slot it in between there. Otherwise, you can go straight to the end of the timeline and you can go and add it in there. Right, so we've laid down the timeline, and you'll see that I've already got a couple of clips that are on top of each other. And the reason for that is just quite simply because I knew that when I was talking over here, you'll see that there's actually two clips. So it's like a multi-clip setup. So while I'm talking over here, there's the clip of me talking. And then as it's going along, I'm talking, and it'll clip in into another clip where I'm talking at exactly the same time, and I've just matched the audio. You see, that is basically multi-camming, and if I have to switch the clips on and off like this, you see it's exactly the same clip. Alright guys, one thing I actually forgot to tell you about. Once you've dropped your footage into Final Cut Pro, before you actually start laying down your timeline, if you've got a slow machine and you want to work pretty fast, especially if you're doing daily vlogs and you want your workflow to be pretty quick, what I would suggest you do is converting your files into proxy files. Now what proxy files are, it's basically a very small version of that file. So it's not HD, but it's a smaller, easier working file that you can work with once you've converted it to a proxy file. Very simple. You go and you select all of your footage. Once you've got all your clips selected, right click, transcode media, and select create proxy media. Now, one thing that you must make sure to do if you're going to create proxy files is that at the end of your edit, make sure that before you export those files, that you convert those proxy files back into original media. Because when you export and you haven't converted it, you're going to get a video that is actually not HD, and you're going to wonder why is this not looking great. It looks like the quality is terrible. What's going on here? It's because you haven't converted it back to original files from proxy files. So if you're using proxy files, make sure that you convert it back to original files before you export your actual video itself. Right, with that out the way, let's move on to the next thing. So we've got our timeline laid down over here. Everything is sorted out. Now what you want to do is you want to start fine tuning this. So you want to make sure that everything is in the right order. So you've got all your vlogging pieces where you're talking to the camera, and then after that you want to go into your B-roll and cinematic sequences. Make sure that your B-roll has been added in, and make sure that those cinematic sequences that you've filmed, remember when we were back out in the field and we filmed a whole bunch of clips to create a sequence? Let's go ahead and edit some of those sequences right now. Right, for example, for a sequence, remember right in the beginning, we filmed a whole bunch of clips where we were getting to the area where we were going to start the actual vlog itself, to Llandudno Ravine. So here I've got a driving clip. You see the next clip over here is me actually coming down the road. I had Carlinn standing over there filming this specific clip. Then we've got another one where we've got an action camera on the front of the car of me actually driving over there, and you see how this is all part of the sequence. Then there's a clip of me getting out the car, another one, a closer one of me getting out the car, opening up the boot from inside the car, putting the bag on my back, putting it on my back a little bit further away, tighter, and off we go. So you see, that is a basic sequence of clips, and once we put them together, this is what it'll look like. What's the next most important thing with regards to your vlog? Well, it has to be music, because what makes a vlog? Well, it's stuff that's actually happening in the vlog itself, but then there's also the music and the sound effects, which really add to the vlog to make it super cool. I currently use something called Epidemic Sound. I find it is the best. I've tried a whole bunch of different places out there. Epidemic Sound works for me, and their whole layout of their actual website itself is incredible. So if you come here, you can check and see what's trending, artist releases, ads, promos, children. It puts it into really cool categories for you. All right. If you want to actually go into sound effects, it gives you sound effects that you can choose from, and there's just actually so much out here. So we've got whoosh, we've got footsteps, ambience, all the kind of stuff. Now I know that for my vlog, I want to try and find a cool tune that is going to work with my vlog. It's adventure, it's upbeat, so something that's got a bit of a beat to it. And then I'm obviously going to need some sound effects that I need to get as well. So let's have a quick little squiz around here and see what we can find. So when you come over here to the main page, you can have a look and see what's going on. I know that my vlog is adventure, so I'm going to have a look in sports and see what there is out here. After looking through some of the stuff, I already know that in extreme sports, this specific category over here, it's got a really cool tune in it. Let's go and have a look around and see what it is. somewhere by one of my favorite artists. It's OOYY. Alright, there we go. Thunderbird. I think that's the one. So I'll have a little listen and see what it sounds like. Listen for the drop as well, so skip through it a bit. It's got a nice little build up to it. I like it. It's perfect. I think I'm going to use this song. So easy peasy. First things first, hit the download button over there. It gives you two options to download from on Epidemic Sound. Download the full mix, which is the whole mix that you would have just heard now, or you can download all the stems, which includes the bass line, which includes the little chorus and things like that. And you can match them together if you want, but for the ease of use, I just always download the full stem just like that, and it's perfect for me to use. Let's download it, and there we go. Right, so now that I've got my music sorted out, the next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to find some sound effects. So I'll click on sound effects over here. I know that I'm going to be using some whooshes, and I'm definitely going to be using some footsteps, because think about it, we're going into the mountains, there's lots of feet and things like that. So I'll go and have a look around and see what is going to be the best sound effects that I'm going to use for this vlog. Now, if you don't have an Epidemic Sound, there are other music sites out there that you can get your music from. So there's Epidemic Sound, there's something called Artlist, like this over here. I used to have a subscription with Artlist, but I no longer have it, but they also have quite a wide variety of stuff to choose from. And if you don't have money to pay for music, then what I would suggest is going onto YouTube, because they've got an extensive audio library where you can actually go and grab stuff completely for free. All you need to do is make sure that when you're uploading it onto YouTube, that you are putting in the right description with whatever they're telling you to do over here. So say for instance over here, like Sasha Trinity, you're free to use this song in any of your videos. Have a look at that, and you just add it in there. Let's have a little listen just so you can see. It's definitely not the kind of song that I want to be using in my vlog. So I'll definitely head back onto Epidemic Sound and I'll be using the music from there. But remember, if you don't have a subscription for Epidemic Sound, YouTube has free music that you can use, so go check that out as well. Right, so I edited that little sequence right at the beginning. Let's check and see how it came out without any kind of effects or anything on it, without any music. Right, see, I've got my car, driving, a couple of sequences over there. Alright, coming into London Ravine. That one's a little bit long. I'll obviously do a bit of a speed ramp on that one over there. Let's see that it comes into me parking my car. Also doing a bit of a speed ramping over here. And then getting out of the car. All looks pretty good. I've chopped it up so that it all pretty much fits into itself, and it all looks like it's one flowing clip. Putting the bag on the back. Off we go. Clip. And that is the first sequence done and dusted. So what we want to do now is we want to actually put some music onto the timeline so we can actually get going with the actual edit itself and chopping it up so that it all looks pretty cool. So I'll go to my music and SFX folder over here. I'll drag my music into my timeline. You'll see that I've already added in like a little clip over here, and it's completely black. And what that's there for is that I know that the intro to the music is just slightly building up, so it doesn't start right off the bat. So what I want it to do is start black and then hit into the music. So watch this. Oh, this is looking pretty good already. It's almost on time. So now it's just going to be a little fine tune to get this specific sequence to work so that it's going really, really well. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, that's perfect. Actually, around about this drop over here, when this happens, so around about over there, that's where I want to actually start talking in the vlog itself. So let's edit a little bit more to get to that specific point, and then we can go from there. Right guys, so I've just finished editing that first little sequence, and I'm going to hit play on this just so that you can see exactly how it looks and what it looks like with the music on the beat. I've done some speed ramping, and I'll explain speed ramping in just a second, but for now, watch this. Right, so there you see, we've already done the first sequence. That was pretty cool. It's 43 seconds into the actual vlog itself, so people have watched it, they're getting into the vibe, they know what's going on. He's on an adventure, and this is kind of what leading up to it and getting there, right? You can make it shorter if you really wanted to, but I think that first little driving sequence is pretty cool, so we'll leave it as it is. And then when we start doing more color grading and things like that, then we'll fine tune it even more by adding on some blurring effects, especially with the speed ramping and things like that. And then it's going to look really, really cool. But for now, let me tell you guys a little bit about speed ramping and how it actually works. So if you look at this clip over here of me driving down the road, you see I was driving down the road and poof, and it quickly sped up. Now the way that that's going to work, so if I make this completely like the way that it should be, you'll see that is what the clip looks like, and it's super slow and it's just kind of getting there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to undo that, push pause, make the timeline a little bit bigger, and show you guys what I've done over here. So what I've done is I've done a speed ramp over here to make it super fast, and then there's a hard cut going into the next little clip. So we'll reenact that real quick. So let's make this brand new again. I'm going to save that, and I'm just going to move this up so that we've got a second clip, and I'm not going to mess around with the current edit that I've already done. So this is the clip that we've got over here. I'm going to make this one so that you can't see it. And first things first. Okay, so driving down the road, it's too long for me to get there, so what I want to do is I want to speed it up. So driving, and I want to go with the beats. So there's the beat over there. That's where we want to change it. So if you're looking at the actual volume over here, you'll see that's where you want to actually make the cut. So you want to go just a little bit before that, hit Shift B, because if you hit Command B, it does a full cut, like a solid cut. All right, then you've got two clips. Now you don't want that. You want to have the same clip that's just been cut over here. So now that is going to basically be, you want that to be regular speed. Then let's fast forward to around about, say, over here, because that's around about where I wanted to get to. Do another Shift B. Remember, not Command B, because it does two clips. You'll split it into two clips. So now what you want to do is you want to make that nice and fast. Custom. I like to make it super fast. So what I'll do is my rate over here, I'll change it to the fastest, which is 20,000%. And you'll see that that is super quick. See, and there we go. And if I wanted to make that even faster as well, so that the clip actually works in there, then I'll just speed up that last little bit. See, and then we head on to the next clip. All right, so actually I might even like that specific cut even more. So let's check it out. So that was the one. And this was the original one that I did. So you see, similar thing. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to keep this clip that we just created now together, get rid of this one, because this one actually works a little bit better, and let's just watch it one more time. Right, then as we kind of moved on, you'll see that everything is working nicely with the actual beat itself. And I've left some sound in here as well. You'll see that this over here has still got the sound in it. If we mute the track, listen. Just simply because that means I don't have to add in any additional sound effects, because there's no real talking in the background, and that actually sounds pretty cool. So let's watch it again with the music. See. Right, there we go. And that is pretty much how you do a little sequence. So make sure when you're out filming that you've done a whole bunch of clips that you know you can stitch them together in the right places. So as I'm getting out of the car, then in the next clip, as I'm getting out of the car, around about the same place, make sure that you connect the two together, and then it looks like it's one single clip. So over here, see it, getting out, closing the door, moving on, opening up. See, I've just opened up the boot and closing it and moving away, and it's all seamless. It all seems like it's all one specific clip. So make sure that you do that, and make sure that you go with the music, and it all should be fine. All right, let's move on to the next topic, which is going to be volume ramping, because now obviously when I start talking over here, Let's move along in the timeline. You'll hear that music is just drowning out my voice completely. So what do I want to do over here is I want to do an audio ramp. Alright, or should I say volume ramp. Alright, so what I want to do over here is I want to make sure that the volume goes down as I'm starting to talk. So what's up guys, that's where I wanted to go down with the music. So what's up? Alright, so I'll go back, and then that's the point that I want to do the actual ramp, right? So if you go up over here into the settings, go and hit there, and it adds a keyframe. Now keyframes are really cool because it gets to control what's happening before and after and between. So that is my first keyframe. I want to keep the volume. Everything to the left of this keyframe is going to be exactly the same. It's going to stay at the right volume that it needs to be at. Then, what's up? What's up? By the time I've said from up, the P, then it needs to be at a good level. So what I want to do is I want to add in another keyframe over here. And then from there, I'm just going to actually reduce the sound. And you'll see in the actual timeline itself over here, if I make it a bit bigger, you'll see that there's a gradual decrease in the actual volume. So let's play it and see how loud the music is, because it might be too soft. And you see that music is too soft, so I want to increase it a little bit so we can go up to, I'd say generally like about 10 to 15 sometimes works. So let's go around 15. And you can even just type it in over here as well. Minus 15 would be softer. That sounds epic. Alright, so, and then all you need to do when you're finished with that, so I would find the end of this clip. Say for instance, this is where I'm going to stop talking around about it here. Let's just minimize it a bit smaller. Alright. So let's go. As soon as I say go, that's where you want to add in the next keyframe. Boom. Let's just move that over there. I'm not sure why I did that. Alright, so we've got another keyframe. So remember, everything to the left of this keyframe is going to be soft. And you want to make sure that when you're going into the next clip, which is part of cinematic stuff where you don't have any voices, maybe just a few frames forward, and then you just come back over here, double check and see what the volume was before. It was at 0, so let's move it back over here to 0. And you'll see. And that's actually perfect. The way that it all worked out is that the beat started going doof, 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 and it was perfect. Now we're in the mountains and we're adventuring and we're going to start editing. So let's work more on this vlog. Let's cut it up to the music. And the next time we talk, we'll talk a little bit more about color grading and things like that. All right, guys, the edit is done. Have a look over here. You'll see on my timeline, there's quite a bit of stuff that has gone down. Look, there's been some volume ramping, there's been speed ramping, there's been a whole bunch of cool stuff that's been happening. And we actually landed up adding in another clip over here as well because this clip was too short, and the total time for the vlog was 5 minutes, and that's a really, really good time for, let's say, for a hiking vlog. You don't want to go too much shorter than that because you can't really fit too much in, especially if you're going on a big hike like this. But generally, like 3 to 5 minutes is a good enough time for a vlog. You don't want to go too much longer than that. Right guys, that is it. We are finished editing the vlog. I am excited because it's busy rendering, it's busy getting all of the effects and all the color grading that I just put in there. As soon as it's finished rendering, I'm going to export it and it's going to be ready to upload onto IGTV. I cannot wait to share it with the world. I can't wait for you guys to see it. In fact, you guys are probably going to be the first people to see it. So I really hope you enjoy it. Anyway, before I go, when you're exporting your video, remember, very important, if you converted your files to proxy files, you need to make sure that you convert them back to original files. Otherwise, you're going to have a really, really low quality vlog and you're going to wonder, why does it look so bad? It's because you didn't convert it back to original files from proxy. So remember to convert over to original files and hit the export button and you're good to go. Also, if you're going to be sharing to different kinds of social media networks, most editing softwares actually have the right settings in there so that you can save it and it doesn't get too compressed by uploading to YouTube or uploading to Instagram or whatever the case may be. So select the right one. If it's not available in your editing software, then you can just simply Google, pretty much bound to find out what the right settings are by a simple Google. So that's it for now. I'm going to wait for this to finish rendering, and when it's done, we are good to go. Right, now that you guys have learned all the basics of editing a vlog, let's watch it and see how it all came out. What's up guys, and welcome to Cape Town, South Africa, more specifically Llandudno Ravine. I decided when I woke up this morning that it is a beautiful day, so I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to head up into the mountains and I'm going to show you guys how epic this hike actually is. I came up here a few days ago for the very first time and I was like, wow, I'm just completely blown away. Some fresh views of Cape Town, little lion's head over there behind me. Anyway, I'm going to take you guys up the mountain and show you what's what. And hopefully we can even see some mountain tiles when we're up there, because I saw them the other day and wow, it's cool seeing them. But let's not waste too much time down here. Let's head up into the mountains. Let's go.
For about an hour and a half now, and we're actually inside Llandudno Ravine now. This is Llandudno Ravine going up now. We're up to getting to one of the steepest parts. In fact, we're coming up to this area over here now, which has got a rope and some staples, and yeah, anyway, but the views are already starting to look absolutely insane. I can't wait to get to the top, and then we'll be able to see even more of this beautiful, beautiful stuff. Let's go. Alright guys, we are at the top and standing on the edge of this is pretty wild. Anyway, I'm having some lunch because I'm starving. It's a vegan sausage on a roll. It's really good. The last time I was up here, I saw tars. So I'm going to finish eating this and then I'm going to go on a mission and I'm going to go find myself a tar. Just finished eating my lunch, completely stuffed. The view is insane, so what I'm going to do is just sit down over here, enjoy the view for a minute, really just take it in, and then I'm going to go take some pictures. Yo! Yes! Wow! Epic! This is insane. Okay, I'm done up here now. It is time to make my way back down the mountain. I've been up here for about 4 hours or so. It has been absolutely amazing. It's been a beautiful day. What a great way to spend a Thursday in Cape Town in the middle of winter time. Whew! Good vibes. Oh man, almost finished. Done this crazy hike. It's been insane. It's been some of the best views today. It's been a perfect day. Who would have thought it's winter in South Africa? Anyway, it's been epic. Time to go down, go home and enjoy an ice cold beer. Well deserved after a long 5.5 hour hike. That's it for today guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's go home and I'll see you again on another hike.
Right guys, that is it. The edit is done, the vlog is complete and ready to upload. But before we upload it, let's just do a quick recap on what we've covered in today's session. First off, we covered editing software. What editing software are you guys going to use? Are you going to use free software or are you going to go for paid software? Remember, if you go for paid software, you get a lot more features built into the actual software itself, but there's a lot of free software out there that you could use, which is pretty powerful as well, like Windows Movie Maker, iMovie, and DaVinci Resolve. Then we spoke about sorting of clips. Remember, it is essential to sort your clips out before you even think about dropping it onto your timeline so that you know exactly where all your clips are at any given time. Once you've got your timeline laid down, then you can start focusing on things like B-roll, making sure that your B-roll is in the specific places that it needs to be in. Then you can focus on doing your cinematic edits, making sure that those cinematic sequences that you've created all have a nice little flow to them so that they all match perfectly. Then we covered speed ramping as well as audio ramping. Remember, speed ramping, just quick little things to make you move into the next clip, kind of works with your in-camera transitions. Those will work really, really well. And then sound ramping, make sure that when it comes to the time where you're going to be talking, that you bring the level of the volume down, and then when it's time to go back onto the actual music again, a nice little ramp back up again so that it's not just hard cuts. And then the final thing that we covered before exporting is color grading. Make sure that you don't over color grade. And also remember that you can go watch Shark Graffit's amazing video on color grading if you want to get more in-depth information on how to actually grade a video. Everybody wants to make money online these days, and in the next episode I'm going to be focusing on how you can make money from vlogging, as well as how you can make money as an influencer / content creator. So stay tuned for the next episode on the Sony Alpha universe, where we're going to be talking making money. There are plenty of other webinars on the Sony Alpha universe, so go check them out. Hosted by other Sony Alpha ambassadors, not just in South Africa, but in the Middle East as well. So Sony, Middle East, Africa, so much information out there to learn from. Head onto the Sony Alpha universe and go and learn some cool stuff. Until you guys see me again next time, ciao ciao.